different. I mean, you can read that book cover to cover and get something.
Yeah, you can read it cover to cover, and I do feel like because I think I've done that 3 or 4 times, and every time I've done that, I feel like I've learned something new from it.
Mhm. Here we go. Welcome everyone to another edition of Semi-Drunk Agile. I guess is that what this is going to be. Um, Unfortunately, I won't be joining Prateek tonight. He's Prateek, what are you drinking? What do you have?
I have a I have the EC barrel brew,
Oh,
but this is the new bottle. This is the new
th
bottle. This is the
oh, that's not the one I got you?
C924 batch. No, no, this is the C924 batch. So
Okay.
this is 129 proof, 11 year.
Is that one better?
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not as grassy as the other one.
Yeah, the other one was pretty crap.
Yeah.
Um, we were flailing with some topics tonight to come up with.
But
There,
all the prep that we do before every episode.
there's a bunch of stuff we want to talk about, but we're probably not in a fit state to talk about that. So we are actually going to go with, I don't know why I look really red there. I don't know what's going on. Um, we're gonna go with like say I don't know. Are we gonna do top three
Yeah,
each?
we can do top
Okay.
three. I'll have to think through it, but we can do top three. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've got my top three. Top three books that have influenced our thinking the way we think.
Yeah.
Got that?
Yeah, thinking all the way we think. All of the thoughts that we think about.
I don't think any author that we mention is going to want to be associated with this whatsoever.
Like, these two bozos.
Yeah. Um, do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
Go for it. I'm sure we have overlap,
That's the
so
problem.
we'll
That's the problem we're gonna have.
yeah, go for
The
it.
one, and these are in no particular order. The one that I probably start out with would be Annie Duke's Thinking in Bets,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
particularly chapter 6. I think if you're going to pick up that book and you're going to read that book, I mean, the first couple of chapters are pretty good, but for me, it's chapter 6 in Thinking in Bets. If you read that and understand that, um, I think your thinking has to change, about decision making. So that's the one for me. That's the one that's one of the ones I would start with.
yeah. Yeah,
You go.
I actually I thought you would go with something else, and I was gonna pick that one as my first one. But yeah, the other one that's along the same lines for me is actually Fooled by Randomness.
Mm,
Nicholas Taleb's Fooled by Randomness. I did read another book before that called Drunkard's Walk, which is about the same principles, but Fooled by Randomness, I think, puts that. Uh, Nicholas Taleb is sometimes a hard writer to read because
hmm
he starts calling people names for no reason in the middle of the book.
Well,
But
and talk about random. He kind of takes
yeah, he
random, right?
totally
He kind of
goes
goes off, and I'm like,
random.
where'd you just go, dude? And I mean, I want to follow you, but where'd you go? Yeah.
But Fooled by Randomness, I think, is one of those of his Incerto trilogy is I think my favorite because it does draw that picture very nicely of how
Yeah.
easily we misinterpret the things around us
Yeah.
and confuse noise for signal.
Yeah, and how we desperately want to see pattern when
Mhm.
pattern doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Um, that's a good one. And by the way, we reserve the right. I probably should start over. We reserve the right to update this list at any given time. You
Anytime,
know,
even
as
mid-episode.
yeah. No, wait. I want to do. Um. Okay, so my second one, and this is really just because I'm rereading it right now, and it is forefront in my
Yeah.
mind, is Richard Thaler's Misbehaving. I just think that's a great book. It's anybody who's read it, you wouldn't at first blush you wouldn't notice it as a slam dunk.
Yeah.
Hey, this changes your thinking, whatever. But it's because for those of you who are not familiar, he talks about just the history of behavioral economics, essentially from his perspective, and I think he's very clear that it's from his perspective. Um, but what I find fascinating about that book is, you know, as he was starting out in his economics journey, he started questioning a lot of the classical ways that economics was trained. And I think that's kind of been what we've been doing from the
Yeah.
very beginning. People have a classic way of talking about, agile or software development or whatever. And my experience has never been what I've heard from popular agile frameworks or popular agile thinkers or whatever. My experience has never been that way. And so when I hear Richard Thaler talk about it, it's like his journey has essentially been my journey. So that one really, really resonated with me.
Yeah, and it's also, I guess for me, it was one of the introductions to behavioral economics. So it kind of, whichever is the first book that introduces you to behavioral economics does stick out in your
Well,
memory.
see, I read Thinking Fast and Slow before,
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
and
okay.
that book actually put me off. Everybody talks about it. Everybody loves Thinking Fast and Slow, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I didn't I couldn't get into that book, but
yeah.
I could not put down misbehaving when I first picked it up.
It is interesting that we mentioned Taleb and Thaler right next to each other.
Because they probably wouldn't appreciate that. Yeah, that would not be a
Yeah. Talking about calling each other names.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Um,
okay, you're next. Yours now.
so I mean, it's an easy thing to just mention Don Ryderson. I mean, it's just so easy to just do that, right?
Mm-hmm, hmm.
I didn't want to go there, but it just feels like we reference the principles of product development flow so many times, and a lot of the work that you and I have done has been uh, based on that and kind of coming from that to say, does this apply in every case, and where does it not apply, and where it does apply, how does that move us forward? I think that's to me principles of product development flow just because it's been a basis of a lot of things that we have done. It moved it in a way it moved us forward. We didn't have to do the legwork because Don already did it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
If I can pile on that, that when I read that book, and I say this all the time. I think Managing the Design Factory is a much more accessible book,
accessible book. Yeah.
but the Principles of Product Development Flow. The reason I love that one is because for me, Don was the first one who brought a rigorous mathematical approach to these things, and
Yeah.
he actually kind of proved, that it is allowed to use rigor when we're
Yeah.
talking about these principles. You are allowed to do that, and not only are you allowed, you should be, right? So that's why I really loved that book.
And obviously, I haven't read all the literature that came before that, but I think Don's the first one with whom having an economic framework
Hmm.
to talk about product development is associated. I'm sure someone else had forayed into it, but he's the one who really made it popular.
Yeah. If I have, and I think we've talked about this. I bet you I've read that book 50 times, maybe even more. Not 50 times cover to cover, but I've picked it up
Yeah,
and I've
that's
read
what I
I've
was
read
gonna
this
say. I
section,
think random chapters.
like,
Yes,
yeah, I've read this
I
chapter
think
like 10 times and then this one
I
like
would say
15
I've
times and
picked
like,
up that book probably 200 times and
yeah,
read different pieces here and there. Yes.
yeah. Um, so yeah, no, totally agree with that one. The last one I'm gonna cheat on. Can I cheat? I'm
And
gonna cheat. You know where I'm going with this one
yeah,
probably,
maybe.
dude.
Yeah.
I would say for my money, anybody who wants to start out with any any understanding of sound data analysis.
I was just gonna say, maybe we should be guessing this last one, but yeah, I know exactly what it is.
um, I would say where I would go is Dr. Donald Wheeler does a monthly article on Quality Digest, and he publishes most of those articles for free on his own website, SPC Press.
Mhm.
And that is just, I concatenated all those PDFs together at one time. I don't know if I told you I did this, and it's like 1,200 pages of
Wow.
of stuff over the past 15 years or something like that. And for me, just the quality of the writing, the insight that he provides, again, the mathematical rigor that he does, and he's another one that's constantly questioning the
Mhm.
status quo, the established dogma. That if you want to learn about data analysis, Dr. Wheeler's Quality Digest articles are the single place to go for me.
Yeah, and again, it's we've talked to Dr. Wheeler a couple of times,
Mhm.
and it's just impressive. Like just talking to him, and the fact that I remember the first time we were on a call with him, and you kind of showed him the work that you had done, and he got it immediately. Like there was like he didn't skip a beat. He got it immediately. And then he was like, "Well, what about this? Have you considered this?" And it was super interesting just interacting with him.
Yeah, and here's a guy who he can literally trace his lineage back to Deming. I mean, he
Yeah,
worked with Deming. He worked alongside Deming for several years, in the 80s, and so that's how he learned his stuff. I mean, it's just kind of incredible when you think about it. But so yeah, that's.
yeah.
Now, I remember. So just quick shout out to Frank Vega. I always have to give him because
Hmm.
Frank is the one who introduced me to Dr. Wheeler. This is back in, I want to say, 2010 or whatever,
Yeah.
because we were in a debate with somebody who shall remain nameless, about using standard deviation, within a given distribution. And Frank started pointing me to all this stuff by Dr. Wheeler, and all of a sudden everything made sense because I had been trying to use stupid stuff because, like, oh well, I know how to
Yeah.
calculate an average and a standard deviation, so of course I've got a data set. That's what I do, and I could never figure out why it was coming out the way that it was. And then I read Wheeler, and I'm like, oh well, no shit.
Yeah. I remember we way back we did stuff like coefficient of variation and all that stuff. And we're like, why is this telling me that that team that we objectively know is not as good as that other team is better than the team? What is happening here? It's not as
Yeah.
predictable. It's not as that's what I meant. But yeah, it was just interesting. Yeah. Uh,
Okay, your turn. Last one.
if if we had done this episode probably 3 or 4 months ago, I might have sent law of averages, which
That's a good one.
still I which
That's a good one.
I still think is a great place to start. Uh, but frankly, to me, and that's the honorable mention. To me, it's Douglas Hubbard. How
Mm,
to measure anything.
that's another one.
I feel like every time I open that book, I find something new, or maybe that says more about my memory than anything else. But it's like every time I open that book, it sparks something. It's a book that based on everything you've learned to point X, it will teach you something. And then when you learn more, you go back and it'll teach you again something. So I think Douglas Hubbard wins out on that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, There, I would agree with that ranking. For me, I think the reason Law of Averages probably would lose out to Douglas Hubbard is because only the first, half of Law of Averages I think is useful.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it might even be less than that. It might even be like the first quarter
First
of it.
5 chapters for,
Yeah, whatever it is. And so yeah, there's a lot of that book that probably doesn't need to be there. And maybe we can do an episode on this, but there's a couple of the later chapters that, Prateek and I have been doing, and Frank have been doing quite a
Mhm.
bit of analysis on. And it's like, the conclusions that
Yeah.
Dr.
Um,
Savage came to, not necessarily sure that we agree with, but yeah. Any, just to understand the evils of averages. But Hubbard's completely different. I mean, you can read that book cover to cover and get something.
yeah, you can read it cover to cover, and I do feel like because I think I've done that 3 or 4 times, and every time I've done that, I feel like I've learned something new from it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um,
Um,
any honorable mentions? Any?
my honorable, I'm just this whole episode is just a total cop out. Um, my honorable mention would be again not a book, but it would be the Little's Law Chapter 5. You
No.
know, I call it Little's Law Chapter 5 because it was from this
Yeah.
anthology or something anyway that Dr. Little went and wrote a chapter on what was I think it was like 40 years after he first published his proof. And
Wasn't there a 50-year, the 50-year edition, right?
there's a there's yeah there's that
Yeah.
too, which was
Because I like that
after.
one. Because that's the one where he's like, you people think this doesn't work. Here is why you are dumb.
Yeah,
I like that one
I,
a lot.
yeah, I mean that in terms of a well-structured written piece of work, yeah,
Yeah,
the 50th anniversary is better. In terms of an accessible first
right.
approach to Little's Law, I think the chapter 5 is
Yeah,
where to
that is
go. And
better.
I mean, Frank Vega and I had endless debates, about that. But again, that's for me, that's another one that you can read 100 times and still get something out. So that'd probably be my for the not too faint of heart. Go back and read Little's original proof too. If you can do it. I mean, the notation he uses is a bit obscure,
Hmm.
but if you can get past the notation, just the fact that he was able to do what he did, in 1961, and it's a
Right.
relatively simple, easy
Yeah.
proof, but no one had done it up until, I mean, I guess it looks easy now, right? But no one had done it up until that time.
Yeah.
So,
It's
so
easy now
that,
that it's obvious.
yeah. So the insight that he had, I thought that's just impressive. Um,
Um, the
and-
only other one that jumps to my mind, because it's a little more modern, is Cass Sustien's Noise. Um, it's a little more modern, and it kind of helps people understand that AI is not magic, and it's a lot of garbage in, garbage out. It's just looking for patterns, and a lot of it gets caught up in the noise. So if you all are right now befuddled by the AI noise around you, and this, I think to ground yourself, noise is a good place to go.
I actually haven't read that one, so I mean
Yeah,
I've been looking for my next read. That sounds
yeah,
like that's going to be it. But
yeah.
you just gave me a thought. Should our next episode be the three books that you absolutely should not read? Because that might be a fun one. That
How
might be
to
a more
how to
fun one
read
to do.
half the books in twice the time?
TBR.
No shade on anyone or anything out there.
But no, I'm serious. I think that'll be the next one. We'll maybe
Yeah,
leave this one as it is,
yeah.
but I
We
think
can totally do that. Yeah,
that
that's
that'll
fun.
that'll be the next one we do. What about all of you out there in TV land? What are the three books that have shaped your thinking the most? Either from an agile perspective, from a decision making perspective, from a risk management perspective, just from a life perspective. We'd love to hear what are those top three books. Please leave them in a comment, and as always, let us know if you have any questions about anything we've talked about here, or other topics that you'd like to hear from us. So. I don't know, Prateek, any last word before we sign off?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, would love to hear what's been shaping your thinking. I mean, which was the ones that we like just glaringly missed? I'm sure we did. I'm sure there was some we missed.
Well,
Yeah.
if we did, they're wrong, right? We're right and they're wrong. So, um, okay, with that, thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you in the next episode. Good night, everyone. If you like this content, all of you know how YouTube works. Please like and subscribe to this channel. We'd love to get your feedback and love to put more quality content out for you. Prateek, what else can they do?
Use the links in the description to reach out to us. You can find us on LinkedIn. See if there's a way we can work together. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we'd love to see you. Thanks everybody for watching, and we hope to see you again very, very soon.